Welcome, my friend. Before we begin, I want you to do something different. Pause whatever you're doing, put your phone on silent, and give yourself this moment. Because what you're about to learn today is not just another English lesson. It's a collection of secrets, real, powerful, and rarely shared. These are the phrases that native speakers use in real life, the ones that make conversation sound natural, confident, and honestly, a little bit magical. Most English learners never hear these phrases in school, in textbooks, or even in most online videos. But today, you're not most learners. You're here because you want to stand out. You want to sound like you belong, not just in the classroom, but in the real world. Let me ask you, have you ever listened to native speakers and felt like they're speaking a different language? You understand the words, but the meaning, the feeling, the flow, it's just out of reach. You wonder, how do they sound so natural? Why do I feel like an outsider even after years of studying? The answer is simple, but nobody tells you. It's not just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about the secret phrases, the hidden gems, the expressions that carry emotion, attitude, and connection. These are the phrases that open doors, build relationships, and make people remember you. Today I'm going to share with you 15 secret English phrases that nobody tells you. But before we dive in, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Don't just listen. Don't just write them down. Use them. Practice them. Make them a part of your daily life. Because knowledge without action is just information. But knowledge with action, that's transformation. Let's start with a story. Imagine you're at a party. You're surrounded by people speaking English, laughing, sharing stories. You want to join in, but you're nervous. You don't want to sound awkward or make a mistake. Suddenly, someone turns to you and says, "So, what's your story?" You freeze. You've never heard that question before. You know what story means, but what do they want? Are they asking about your life, your job, your day? This is the first secret phrase. What's your story? It's a friendly, open way to ask someone about themselves. It's not about a fairy tale or a book. It's about you, your background, your journey, your experiences. When someone asks you this, they're inviting you to share who you are. And when you use it, you're showing genuine interest in the other person. Now, let's flip the script. Imagine you want to ask someone about their life, but you don't want to sound boring or too direct. Instead of saying, "Tell me about yourself," try, "So, what's your story?" It's casual, it's warm, and it opens the door to real conversation. And that's what these secrets are all about. But let's not stop there. Here's another phrase that native speakers use all the time, but you'll almost never find it in a textbook. I'm game. What does it mean? It means I'm interested, I'm willing, or I'm ready to join. For example, if someone says, "We're going to try a new restaurant tonight. Are you in?" You can reply, "I'm game." It's short, it's cool, and it shows you're open to new experiences. Imagine how much more confident you'll sound when you use this instead of just saying "okay" or "yes." Let's keep going. The third secret phrase is "it's not my cup of tea." This is a polite way to say you don't like something or it's not your preference. For example, if someone asks, "Do you like horror movies?" and you don't, you can say, "Honestly, it's not my cup of tea." It's gentle, it's respectful, and it avoids hurting anyone's feelings. Native speakers use this all the time to express their opinions without sounding rude. Now, I want you to notice something. Each of these phrases does more than just communicate information. They communicate personality, attitude, and emotion. They make you sound more human, more relatable, more real. And that's the secret to great English, not just speaking correctly, but speaking with heart. Let's move to the fourth phrase. I'm all ears. This means I'm listening carefully or you have my full attention. Imagine your friend wants to tell you something important. Instead of just saying, "Go ahead," you say, "I'm all ears." It's friendly, it's supportive, and it shows you care. These little phrases are like magic keys. They unlock deeper conversations and stronger relationships. The fifth secret phrase is "you nailed it." This means you did it perfectly or you got it exactly right. If someone gives a great answer, finishes a project, or does something impressive, you can say, "You nailed it." It's a powerful compliment, and it feels amazing to hear. Start using it, and you'll see how people light up when you recognize their success. Let's pause for a moment. Are you starting to see the pattern? These phrases are not just about words. They're about connection. They're about making people feel seen, heard, and appreciated. And when you use them, you become the kind of person people want to talk to, work with, and be around. But here's the thing. Most English learners never learn these phrases. They stick to the basics, the safe answers, the textbook responses. And that's why they never break through to real fluency. But you're different. You're here because you want more. You want to be unforgettable. So let's keep going. The sixth secret phrase is, let's play it by ear. This means, let's see what happens and decide as we go. It's used when you don't want to make a fixed plan. For example, if someone asks, what time should we meet, and you're not sure, you can say, let's play it by ear. It's flexible, it's relaxed, and it shows you're comfortable with uncertainty. The seventh secret phrase is, I'm on the fence. This means you're undecided or not sure about something. If someone asks, are you going to the party? And you haven't decided, you can say, I'm on the fence. It's honest, it's natural, and it's a phrase native speakers use all the time. Let's take a breath. We've already covered 7 secret phrases, and we're just getting started. But before we move on, I want you to imagine how your conversations will change when you start using these. Imagine the confidence, the connection, the respect you learn. This is your moment. Don't let it slip away.
Let's keep this momentum going. You've already learned 7 secret phrases that can transform your English conversations. But remember, it's not just about memorizing words. It's about understanding the feeling behind them, the situations where they shine, and the confidence they give you. So, as we move forward, I want you to picture yourself in real-life situations using these phrases naturally, surprising people with your fluency and charm. The 8th secret phrase is, that's the last straw. This is a powerful way to say that something is the final problem in a series of problems and you can't take it anymore. Imagine you've been patient with a difficult situation, but then one more thing happens and you've had enough. You might say, that's the last straw. For example, if your roommate keeps making a mess and then breaks your favorite mug, you could say, that's the last straw. I need to talk to him. It's a phrase that shows your limits and is used often in both personal and professional life. Now, let's talk about the 9th phrase. It's a long shot. This means something is unlikely to happen, but you're going to try anyway. For example, if you're applying for a job that's very competitive, you might say, it's a long shot, but I'm going to apply. This phrase shows hope, courage, and a willingness to take risks, even when the odds are against you. It's a phrase that inspires, and when you use it, you show that you're not afraid to dream big. The 10th secret phrase is, I'm feeling under the weather. This is a gentle, polite way to say you're not feeling well, usually because of a cold or mild illness. Instead of saying, I'm sick, you can say, I'm feeling under the weather today. It's softer, more natural, and it's what native speakers say when they want to keep things light but honest. Next time you need to call in sick or explain why you're not at your best, try this phrase. You'll sound more fluent and more considerate. Let's move to the 11th phrase. Let's get the ball rolling. This means let's start or let's begin the process. It's often used in meetings, group projects, or any situation where you want to encourage action. For example, if you're in a team meeting and everyone is waiting for someone to start, you can say, let's get the ball rolling. It's energetic, it's motivating, and it shows leadership. People respect those who take initiative, and this phrase helps you do just that. The 12th secret phrase is, I'm in hot water. This means you're in trouble or facing a difficult situation, often because of something you did. For example, if you missed an important deadline at work, you might say, I'm in hot water with my boss. It's a colorful way to admit a mistake or a challenge, and it's much more interesting than just saying, I'm in trouble. Native speakers love using phrases like this because they add flavor and emotion to the conversation. Now, Let's talk about the 13th phrase. It's not set in stone. This means something is not final or permanent. It can still change. For example, if you're making plans with friends and someone asks if the time is fixed, you can say, "It's not set in stone. We can change it if needed." This phrase is useful in both personal and professional life, and it shows that you're flexible and open-minded. The 14th secret phrase is, "I'll keep you posted." This means you'll update someone as soon as you have more information. For example, if you're waiting for news about a project or an event, you can say, "I'll keep you posted." It's professional, it's friendly, and it shows responsibility. People appreciate when you use this phrase because it reassures them that you're on top of things. And now, the 15th and final secret phrase. Let's call it a day. This means it's time to stop working or finish what you're doing for now. It's often used at the end of a workday, a meeting, or any activity. For example, after a long study session, you might say, "Let's call it a day." It's a gentle, natural way to suggest taking a break or ending something, and it's a phrase you'll hear all the time in English-speaking environments. Now, you have all 15 secret phrases, but here's the real secret. Knowing these phrases is just the beginning. The real magic happens when you use them, when you make them your own, when you let them become part of your personality. So let's go deeper. Let's talk about how to use these phrases in real conversations, how to avoid common mistakes, and how to build the confidence to speak up even when you're nervous. First, let's address the biggest fear most English learners have. What if I use the phrase wrong? What if people laugh at me? Let me tell you something important. Every fluent speaker you've ever met has made mistakes. Every native speaker has said something awkward or funny at some point. The difference is they don't let it stop them. They keep going, they keep learning, and they keep growing. So if you use a phrase and it doesn't come out perfectly, that's not failure, that's progress. That's how you learn. Here's a tip. Practice these phrases in low-pressure situations first. Use them with friends, in your journal, or even when talking to yourself in the mirror. The more you use them, the more natural they'll feel. And when the moment comes to use them in real life, you'll be ready. Let's do a quick exercise together. I'll give you a situation, and you try to use one of the secret phrases. Ready? Imagine your friend invites you to a new restaurant, but you're not sure if you'll like the food. What can you say? That's right, "I'm game." Or maybe, "It's not my cup of tea, but I'll give it a try." See how easy it is? The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Now, let's talk about the power of contrast. Most English learners stick to safe, boring phrases. They say, "I don't like it," instead of, "It's not my cup of tea." They say, "I'm not sure," instead of, "I'm on the fence." They say, "Let's start," instead of, "Let's get the ball rolling." When you use these secret phrases, you stand out. You sound more interesting, more confident, more like a native speaker. That's the difference between existing in English and truly living in it. But there's more. These phrases are not just for impressing others. They're for expressing yourself. They help you share your feelings, your opinions, your personality. They help you connect, build trust, and create memorable moments. And that's what language is all about.
Now that you know these 15 secret English phrases and understand their power, let's take things even further. Because the truth is, knowing phrases is only the first step. The real transformation happens when you learn how to weave them into your daily life, your unique story, and your personal journey. This is where most learners stop, but you're not most learners. You're here to break through, to become unforgettable, to make English your own. Let's start with a simple but powerful idea. Context is everything. The same phrase can feel warm and friendly in one situation, but awkward or even rude in another. That's why native speakers don't just memorize phrases. They feel them. They sense when to use them, how to say them, and even when to hold back. So, how do you develop this sense? The answer is practice, observation, and a little bit of courage. Imagine you're at work and your team is stuck on a problem. Everyone is quiet, waiting for someone to speak up. This is your moment. You say, "Let's get the ball rolling." Instantly, the energy changes. People look at you as a leader, someone who takes initiative. Or maybe you're with friends and someone suggests a crazy idea, like going on a road trip at midnight. You smile and say, "I'm game." Suddenly, you're not just part of the group, you're the spark that makes things happen. But what about those moments when you're not sure what to say, when you feel nervous or the conversation is moving too fast? Here's a secret. Pausing is powerful. Native speakers often pause, think, and then use a phrase that fits the moment. You don't have to rush. Take a breath, remember your phrases, and choose the one that feels right. If you're undecided, say, "I'm on the fence." If you need more time, say, "Let's play it by ear." These phrases buy you time and show that you're thoughtful, not just silent. Let's talk about another key to sounding natural: intonation and emphasis. The way you say a phrase can change its meaning completely. For example, "You nailed it" with excitement is a huge compliment. But if you say it flatly, it loses its magic. Practice saying these phrases with different emotions: enthusiasm, surprise, even sarcasm. Record yourself, listen back, and notice how your voice changes the feeling. This is what makes your English come alive. Now let's address a common fear. What if people don't understand me? Here's the truth. Most people are not listening for perfect grammar or accent. They're listening for connection, for effort, for authenticity. When you use these secret phrases, you're showing that you care about the conversation, that you want to connect, and that's what people remember. Even if you make a mistake, most people will appreciate your effort and help you along the way. Let's shift gears and talk about building habits. Learning a new phrase is like planting a seed. If you water it every day, it grows. If you forget about it, it withers. So how do you make these phrases a natural part of your English? Here's a simple system. 1. Choose one phrase each day. Write it on a sticky note, put it on your phone, or set it as your wallpaper. Use it at least 3 times that day, in conversation, in writing, or even in your thoughts. Reflect at the end of the day. How did it feel? Did people react? Did you feel more confident? Repeat this process for each phrase. In just 2 weeks, you'll have 15 new tools in your English toolbox ready to use whenever you need them. Let's go deeper. These phrases are not just for casual conversation, they're powerful in professional settings too. Imagine you're in a job interview and the interviewer asks about your decision-making style. You could say, "I like to play it by ear when things are uncertain, but I always keep my team posted on any changes." Or maybe you're leading a meeting and want to encourage your team. "Let's get the ball rolling on this project. I know it's a long shot, but I'm game if you are." These phrases show flexibility, leadership, and a positive attitude, qualities every employer values. But what about difficult conversations? Maybe you need to give feedback, express disagreement, or set boundaries. These secret phrases can help you do it with grace. For example, if you don't agree with an idea, instead of saying, "That's wrong," you can say, "Honestly, it's not my cup of tea, but I see where you're coming from." If someone keeps asking you to do more work and you're overwhelmed, you can say, "I'm already in hot water with my deadlines. Can we revisit this next week?" These phrases soften your message, making it easier to be honest without causing conflict. Let's not forget about building relationships. The best conversations are not just about exchanging information. They're about sharing stories, emotions, and dreams. When you ask someone, "What's your story?" you're inviting them to open up, to share their journey. When you say, "I'm all ears," you're showing that you care, that you're present. These moments create trust, friendship, and even love. Now let's talk about avoiding common mistakes. Many learners try to translate phrases from their native language into English, but this can lead to confusion or awkwardness. For example, saying, "I'm between 2 chairs" instead of "I'm on the fence,"
or it's written in the stars instead of it's not set in stone. The secret is to learn phrases as whole units, not just as words. Practice them in context, listen to how native speakers use them, and don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Here's a challenge for you. Over the next week, try to notice when native speakers use these secret phrases in movies, TV shows, podcasts, or real life. Write down the situation, the emotion, and the reaction. This will help you develop an instinct for when and how to use them yourself. Finally, let's talk about confidence. The biggest difference between someone who speaks English well and someone who speaks English powerfully is confidence. Confidence doesn't mean never making mistakes. It means not being afraid of them. It means speaking up even when you're nervous. It means using new phrases even if you're not sure they're perfect. Every time you use one of these secret phrases, you're building your confidence, your fluency, and your future. You've come this far, and that already sets you apart from most learners. But don't stop now. The world is full of opportunities for those who dare to speak up, to connect, to be bold. These 15 secret phrases are your passport to a new world of English, a world where you belong, where you shine, where you are unforgettable.
Let's take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. You started this journey with curiosity, maybe even a little doubt. Now you're holding a set of tools that most English learners never discover. But the real question is, what will you do with them? Because the difference between those who dream and those who achieve is action. And action, in language learning, means using what you know, even when it feels uncomfortable. Let's talk about the power of contrast. Imagine two people in the same situation. One uses basic, textbook English, "I don't like it." The other uses a secret phrase, "It's not my cup of tea." Which one sounds more natural, more confident, more interesting? The answer is obvious. The second person stands out, not because they know more words, but because they know the right words. This is the power of contrast. When you use these secret phrases, you create a gap between yourself and the average learner. You become memorable. You become the person people want to talk to, learn from, and work with. But contrast isn't just about impressing others. It's about expressing yourself more fully. Think about it. Language is not just a tool for communication, it's a tool for creation. Every phrase you use shapes the way people see you, the way you see yourself, and even the way you experience the world. When you say, "Let's play it by ear," you're not just making a plan. You're showing that you're flexible, open-minded, and easygoing. When you say, "I'm in hot water," you're not just admitting a mistake. You're showing honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to take responsibility. Let's explore how these phrases can help you navigate different social situations. For example, imagine you're at a networking event. You meet someone new, and instead of the usual, "Where are you from?" you ask, "So, what's your story?" Instantly, the conversation becomes deeper, more personal, more memorable. Or maybe you're in a group and someone suggests an idea you're not sure about. Instead of saying, "I don't know," you say, "I'm on the fence." This shows that you're thoughtful, that you consider your options, that you're not afraid to admit uncertainty. Now let's talk about smooth transitions. One of the biggest challenges in conversation is moving from one topic to another without sounding awkward. Secret phrases are your bridge. For example, if you want to change the subject, you can say, "Speaking of that, let's get the ball rolling on our next topic." Or if you want to wrap up a meeting, "Let's call it a day." These transitions make you sound polished, professional, and in control. But what about those moments when you need to disagree or say no? Many learners struggle with this because they don't want to sound rude or negative. Here's where your secret phrases shine. Instead of a blunt "no," you can say, "Honestly, it's not my cup of tea." Instead of "I can't do it,"
Try, I'm already in hot water with my deadlines. These phrases soften your message, making it easier to be honest without hurting feelings. Let's not forget about building rapport. The best conversations are not just about exchanging information. They're about building trust, connection, and even friendship. When you say, "I'm all ears," you're telling someone that you value their words, that you're present and engaged. When you say, "You nailed it," you're giving genuine praise, which makes people feel seen and appreciated. These moments create bonds that last far beyond the conversation itself. Now, let's address a common challenge: overcoming self-doubt. Maybe you're thinking, these phrases are great, but will I really remember them? Will I sound natural? The answer is yes, if you practice. Remember, fluency is not about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you use a new phrase, you're taking a step forward. Every mistake is a lesson. Every conversation is an opportunity. Here's a practical exercise. Choose one phrase each day and set a goal to use it at least 3 times. Write it in your notebook, say it out loud, use it in a message, or drop it into a conversation. At the end of the day, reflect. How did it feel? Did people react? Did you feel more confident? This simple habit will turn these phrases from secrets to strengths. Let's talk about storytelling. The most powerful speakers are not just good with words, they're good with stories. And these secret phrases are perfect for storytelling. Imagine you're sharing an experience. "I was feeling under the weather, but I didn't want to let my team down. So I said, let's get the ball rolling, and we finished the project on time. Honestly, I was in hot water with my boss, but in the end, he said, you nailed it." See how the phrases bring the story to life? They add color, emotion, and authenticity. Now let's look at professional growth. In the workplace, the ability to communicate clearly, confidently, and naturally is a superpower. When you use phrases like, "I'll keep you posted," or "It's not set in stone," you show that you're proactive, flexible, and reliable. These are qualities that employers value, and they can set you apart in interviews, meetings, and everyday interactions. But let's not stop there. These phrases are also powerful in personal growth. They help you express your feelings, set boundaries, and build stronger relationships. When you say, "That's the last straw," you're standing up for yourself. When you say, "Let's call it a day," you're taking care of your well-being. When you say, "I'm on the fence," you're being honest about your uncertainty. These are not just language skills, they're life skills. Finally, let's talk about legacy. The words you use, the stories you tell, the connections you make, they all become part of your legacy. When you use these secret phrases, you're not just learning English, you're building a voice that is unique, powerful, and unforgettable. You're creating a version of yourself that is ready for any challenge, any conversation, any opportunity. You've come a long way, but the journey doesn't end here. The world is waiting for your voice, your story, your impact. These 15 secret phrases are your passport. Use them boldly, use them often, and watch as doors open, relationships deepen, and your confidence soars.
Let's take everything you've learned and bring it into the real world. Because the truth is, language is alive. It grows, it adapts, and it thrives in the messiness of real life. The secret phrases you now know are not just for special occasions. They're for every day, every conversation, every moment you want to make count. So let's explore how you can use these phrases to transform your daily interactions, your mindset, and even your future. Imagine you're starting your day. You wake up, check your messages, and see a friend has invited you to try something new. Maybe a yoga class, a new restaurant, or a weekend trip. Instead of the usual, "okay," or "sure," you reply, "I'm game." Instantly, your friend feels your enthusiasm. You're not just agreeing, you're bringing energy, openness, and a sense of adventure. This is how you set the tone for your day your relationships, and your life. Now, picture yourself at work or school. A colleague or classmate suggests a new idea, but you're not sure if it will work. Instead of saying, "I don't know," you say, "It's a long shot, but it might just work." Suddenly, you're not the person who doubts. You're the person who's willing to take risks, to try, to hope. This attitude is contagious. It inspires others to think bigger, to dream, to act. Let's say you're not feeling your best. Maybe you caught a cold, or you're just tired. Instead of saying, "I'm sick," you tell your team, "I'm feeling under the weather today, but I'll do my best." This phrase is gentle, honest, and shows that you care about your responsibilities even when you're not at 100%. People respect honesty, and they appreciate when you communicate with kindness. Now, imagine you're in a meeting and things are moving slowly. People are waiting for someone to take charge. You step up and say, "Let's get the ball rolling." With just a few words, you shift the energy. You become the leader, the motivator, the person who makes things happen. This is the power of language. It's not just about what you say, but how you make people feel. But what about those moments when things go wrong? Maybe you missed a deadline, made a mistake, or forgot something important. Instead of making excuses, you admit, "I'm in hot water over this one." This phrase shows accountability. It's honest, it's humble, and it invites support instead of criticism. People trust those who own their mistakes and work to fix them. Let's talk about flexibility. Plans change, life happens, and sometimes you need to adapt. When someone asks if your plans are final, you say, "It's not set in stone." This phrase shows that you're open to change, that you're not rigid or stubborn. It makes you easier to work with, and it helps others feel comfortable suggesting new ideas. Communication is not just about talking. It's about keeping people informed. When you're waiting for news or updates, you say, "I'll keep you posted." This phrase is professional, reliable, and shows that you value other people's time and trust. It's a small phrase, but it builds big credibility. At the end of a long day, when you and your team have worked hard, you say, "Let's call it a day." This phrase is a gentle way to signal that it's time to rest, to recharge, to celebrate what you've accomplished. It's a reminder that success is not just about working hard, but also about knowing when to pause. Now, let's talk about the moments that matter most, the moments of connection. When someone shares something important, you say, "I'm all ears." You're not just listening, you're giving your full attention, your respect, your presence. This phrase turns a simple conversation into a moment of trust, of understanding, of real human connection. And when someone does something great, finishes a project, gives a great answer, or just makes your day better, you say, "You nailed it." This phrase is more than a compliment. It's recognition, it's encouragement, it's a way to lift someone up and make them feel seen. But what about the tough moments? When you've had enough, when you can't take any more? You say, "That's the last straw." This phrase is a way to set boundaries, to stand up for yourself, to say, "Enough is enough." It's not about anger, it's about self-respect. And when you're not sure, when you're caught between two choices, you say, "I'm on the fence." This phrase is honest, it's thoughtful, and it shows that you're considering your options. People appreciate honesty, and they respect those who take time to make the right decision. Sometimes you don't want to make a plan. You want to see what happens. You say, "Let's play it by ear." This phrase is relaxed, open, and shows that you're comfortable with uncertainty. It invites spontaneity, creativity, and fun. And when you want to express your opinion without offending, you say, "Honestly, it's not my cup of tea." This phrase is gentle, respectful, and allows you to be true to yourself without hurting others. Now, let's bring it all together. These phrases are not just words, they're tools for building the life you want. They help you express yourself, connect with others, and navigate the ups and downs of daily life. They give you confidence, flexibility, and a sense of belonging. But remember, the real secret is not just knowing these phrases, it's using them. Every conversation is a chance to practice, to grow, to shine. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start today. Use one phrase, then another. Watch how people respond. Notice how your confidence grows. This is your journey, your story, your voice. You have the power to transform your English, your relationships, and your future. All it takes is a little courage, a little practice, and the willingness to try. So go out there, speak up, be bold, and remember, nobody tells you these 15 secret English phrases, but now you know them, and that changes everything.
You've made it to the final stretch, and that says something powerful about you. Most people start, but few finish. You're not just a learner, you're a doer, a finisher, someone who sees things through. That's the same energy you need to bring to your English journey and to every goal you set in life. Because the truth is, the world doesn't reward those who know the most. It rewards those who act, who try, who keep going even when it's hard. Let's take a moment to imagine your future. Picture yourself a few months from now. You're in a new city, maybe at a cafe, a meeting, or a party. The people around you are speaking English, laughing, sharing stories. You're not just listening, you're joining in. You're using the secret phrases you've learned, and you notice something amazing. People respond to you differently. They lean in, they smile, they remember you. You're not just another face in the crowd. You're someone they want to talk to, someone they respect, someone they trust. That's the real power of language. It's not about perfect grammar or a flawless accent. It's about connection. It's about being able to say what you feel, to share your ideas, to build relationships that matter. These 15 secret phrases are your keys to that world. They're not magic, but they open doors. Doors to new friendships, new opportunities, and new adventures. But let's be honest, there will be days when you feel stuck. Days when you forget a phrase, when you make a mistake, when you feel like you're not making progress. That's normal. Every journey has ups and downs. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is simple. Persistence. Keep going. Use the phrases even if you stumble. Laugh at your mistakes, learn from them, and try again. Every time you use a new phrase, you're one step closer to fluency. Here's a final challenge for you. Over the next 15 days, focus on one secret phrase each day. Write it down. Say it out loud. Use it in a conversation, a message, or even a social media post. At the end of each day, reflect. How did it feel? Did it change the way people responded to you? Did it change the way you felt about yourself? Keep a journal of your progress. You'll be amazed at how quickly these phrases become a natural part of your English. And don't keep these secrets to yourself. Share them. Teach a friend, a classmate, or a family member. The best way to master something is to teach it to someone else. You'll not only help them, you'll reinforce your own learning and build deeper connections in the process. Remember, language is a living thing. It grows with you. The more you use it, the more it becomes a part of who you are. Don't be afraid to make it your own. Add your personality, your humor, your style. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your unique voice. As we wrap up, I want you to remember one last thing. You are capable of more than you think. You have the power to change, to grow, to become the person you've always wanted to be. These 15 secret English phrases are just the beginning. They're a starting point, a foundation. What you build on top of them is up to you. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation, don't hold back. Use what you've learned. Take a risk. Be bold. And if you ever feel nervous, remember, every native speaker was once a beginner. Every confident person you meet has felt unsure at some point. The only difference is they kept going. And so will you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for trusting me to guide you, to share these secrets, to help you grow.
If you found value in this, if you feel more confident, more inspired, more ready to take on the world, then my job is done. But your journey is just beginning. Go out there, speak with confidence, connect with people, make mistakes, learn, and keep moving forward. The world is waiting for your story, your ideas, your voice, and now you have the tools to make it unforgettable. If you want more lessons like this, more real talk, more secrets that nobody else will tell you, make sure to subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and leave a comment about which phrase you're most excited to use. I read every comment, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. Remember, nobody tells you these 15 secret English phrases, but now you know them, and that changes everything.